Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. If you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Monday, January 18th, 2021. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, folks, here we go. It is the Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing in Vegas, Cam Stewart north of the border. He's got the entire country, the weight of the entire country on his shoulders, and he can soldier that load. Full disclosure, bright and early on a Monday. We're recording this. Get a look at the night games on Monday, early games in the week, some of the new matchups that are coming. So we actually could call this Breakfast with Cammy. Good morning.
Breakfast with Cammy. Yeah, what's for breakfast? It's not Vector. It's going to be something else. I'll tell you something. Producer Mike, he's a piece of work, this guy. But anyway, we'll talk, Brian. Hopefully we hit some winners. It's been a pretty good week. We've seen some ups and downs, though, too, right? The first night we go over, and then we have some unders, the back-to-back. Some of them work, some of them don't. Eventually we're going to have some trends here, but it was good on Sunday night. We hit that over in the Panther game, and it's funny. I kind of went against, I think a lot of people bet on Florida thinking, wow, they haven't played, but I bet on them, and they actually got it done. So it was a pretty good way to end the weekend, Bri.
All right, hey, listen, here's the deal. We want to get you winners. We love doing this. Here's the deal. The hockeybettingpodcast.ca. We thank all our partners. We've got some sports books you're going to play. We say like getting an app, get several different accounts so you can shop for numbers. Hey, you help us along the way so we can do this, but it's going to be convenient and good for you, and we're going to give you a sign-up bonus coming up in a little bit, but we hope you'll support our endeavor to do this for you. How's that?
Sounds nice.
Hey, the one thing I would say to you, kid, coming out of the gate, the angles that we're going to look for that I think will work, and not blindly, but these are series for the most part. And we had, I guess it was Friday night, the first revenge game. You had Vancouver beat Edmonton. Edmonton turned around and won comfortably. Then Friday night, I guess it was, we had a boatload of them. And Cam, the team that lost the first game, they went 5-3, and two of the losses were the Kings losing to Minnesota in overtime.
Yep.
And Anaheim played their lungs out, and Vegas pulled the goalie, tied it, and then won it like 7 seconds into overtime. And so the two losers, were in overtime, or you're sitting there looking at what do we be looking at? 7-1 with we said this. The teams that lose that first game, they're going to come back at you hard. Their series, their adjustments from coaches, and the one other thing I think I'm going to apply, just because I look to do this in the playoffs, and this is kind of what we're dealing with here. When a new series begins, I think the teams kind of go for it before the angst and the hate builds up, and then the team that loses game one plays, a more physical, more sense of urgency kind of game, and the games, to me, generally then become played closer to the vest. So I think a lot. I'm not saying it's a black and white thing, but I think when a new series begins, it's a good foundation. It's a good starting point. I'm looking over in game one, under in game two. That's worked forever in the playoffs, so why wouldn't it work in this similar format?
Good point. If you use the Buffalo Sabre, your team as an example, the first game went way over the number. In the second game, Buffalo ran into a hot tender, and they lost a heartbreaker 2-1. You're right. In the first game, Brian, these guys couldn't, what do you say, stop a medicine ball. So I think...
Well, in their own end, Cam. I mean, you brought that game up. Just in that game, the first game, the Sabres defense was running around. All that was missing was Calliope music. They were running around. Ristolainen was out of position, chasing the puck. The next games, they show these guys video and go, what are you doing? Stop abandoning the front of the net. So it was more, the goalie, but it just was the way the game was played, where they didn't abandon their positions and run around. And the goalies were, Allmark played, but he was seeing the shots. So it was more than the hot tender. It was the way the whole game was played.
Yeah, I'm with you. And also, too, the Washington's backup goalie, like he made his NHL debut and he stood on his head. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. If Samsonov luggage there, if he goes into the game, the Sabres win that game. You've seen the guy play. So, yeah, no, it's a very good angle, Brian. I'm with you on that, too. And I'm taking desperate teams. Like, I know the game went to a shootout, but Pittsburgh lost the first 2 games against Philadelphia. It's a shortened season. They can't afford to lose that game against Washington. They got the point, then they got the extra point in the shootout. That's what I'm looking to do. These teams out of the gate 0-2, I'm probably going to take them in the 3rd or 4th game, definitely, because they know if you go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, you gone, your season's done, because things are different. The hockey compared to other sport, the point system, you try to win games in regulation there. A lot of the time, even when you lose, you pick up that point if it goes to overtime and a shootout. It's really hard to extend and get ahead of teams. So you got to, if you have a horrible start, you got to go on a Tootsie Roll and start putting some wins together, preferably in regulation.
I'm going to tell a quick story here, but the story is about making money. So don't run away, because there's a moral to the story. I went to the Golden Knights game, their home opener against Anaheim. And I was really looking forward to it, Cam. I said, I want to see this in this environment. I want to see what it's all about, have a feel for it. But I thought this is going to be pretty cool to hear the sounds, to hear them chirping each other and all this other stuff. Well, okay. Well, first of all, the game's a satellite photo because the press box in Vegas is like, Raptor City, which is fine. But I'm telling you, Cam, I hated every second of it. It was... And it made me try to put myself in the player's shoes. And no knock on Vegas. This is what it's got to be like in all these buildings. They're pumping in manufactured crowd noise that they're feeding down to the players to give them some sense of energy or whatever. But so for us, selfishly, you're at the game. That pumped in crowd noise diminishes the noise that's coming off the ice, which was what I was looking forward to. I'm watching these guys. A goal would be scored, and they kind of look at each other. Did that go in? There's this 2-second delay for reactions for goals. And then the biggest thing, the energy guys, like the 3rd and 4th lines, and where this impacts the games. We're talking about, they're going to hate each other, and it's a series, and they're going to, it's going to build up, and they're going to be brawling. And Cam, there's no energy in the building. Now, maybe, somebody does something to a guy in game 1, then things heat up in game 2. That's going to happen. But I'm thinking the energy guys. I mean, I looked at my buddy Steve Karp from Gaming Today. We're sitting next to each other. It's about 9 minutes into the game, and I was going to tweet it out. And then we looked at the official score. I'm like, well, who's doing this? They said the hits were 8-5. I was going to send a tweet out, go, the next hit in the Vegas-Anaheim game will be the first, and we're halfway into the first period. The energy guys feed off the crowd. So the 3rd and 4th lines, it's a different dynamic, man.
Oh, that's a good point that you raised, too. And these guys are the ones, when you're down, they start fights. They try to get your team back into the game. Like I remember, the game, even just watching Toronto play, like Wayne Simmons actually punches the crap out of somebody. It fires up the team. But you're right, Brian. Those moments are few and far between. We haven't really seen that stuff. I don't know how it affects. Like, what do you think about how does it affect the total? Well, you're saying they just kind of, what do? They float around more because it's hard to get pumped up. How do you play that angle then if the 3rd and 4th line guys aren't pummeling guys and putting them through glass?
Well, I can't form an opinion yet, I guess is the long and short of it, because I refuse even now, we're only a couple of games in for some teams, that I'm not going to overreact because I just go back to the World Juniors where some of these guys just look like they were out there. And then all of a sudden, game 3, game 4, like, whoa, look at that kid, or look at this team, because they hadn't played games since February or March. And, you got many of these teams that are in the same boat in the NHL. You have the 7 that missed the playoffs. I'm not going to flip a lid. I'm not happy, but the Sabres start 0-2. I'm not going to go bananas and go, here we go again, although it feels that way. But I think some of these teams can get their act together. I think we've got to almost give it the entirety of this week before we can say, this is who these guys are. So I think there's a little buyer beware in terms of what we're doing out of the gate. because they are all shaking off the rink rust.
No, I agree with that. And that's what I'm doing, Brian. When we tacked the card today, it's a little bit of a leap of faith, but I'm looking at a couple underdogs here that are actually going to show up. Some teams have been playing with fire. They got wins, and, I'm looking for plus prices tonight. And if I take a favorite in, I want to parlay them, do them in a round robin or a parlay, because there's a couple pooches.
Hey, one of our loyal listeners, Drew, sent out a tweet with our little song. Like he was excited.
Parlay,
we were back.
parlay, parlay, parlay.
Yeah. I'm glad you're doing it for the guy. You're the guy that just got up. How's that work out, by the way?
Not well.
Well, excuse me.
I see Mike's text meeting in 15 minutes. If he was in the room, I would have put him through a wall. To be honest with you, but that's okay.
Yeah, but it's 7 a.m. for me. It's 10 a.m.
That's
for you.
why
I'm running around like a reindeer. What the hell am I missing?
I don't know what you're missing. Oh no, I did a show till 1:00 in the morning last night, Brian. But I will say this: for a guy that's sponsored by Marlboro and like basically breathes smoke and ash, I'm very impressed. Like, you're more like a triathlete. Like, I call you, you're fresh, you're in good. I don't know how you do it. For a guy that like hacks darts the way you do, I'm very impressed. Well, you could still run a marathon.
Well, I mean, this is true. I mean, it sounds like a,
No, I know. Most guys that I know who smoke cigarettes are like out of shape.
You don't understand. I'm not in shape, Cam. I mean, Jesus. I mean, listen. Here's the deal, all right? And I say this with sincerity. Like, when I go out to do a radio remote or out of a sports book or a casino, I'm out. I swear to God, wearing the damn, I almost said something else. Wear the damn mask. The only time I get fresh air is to take the mask off and have a cigarette.
That's a good point. No, that's what my doctor told me, Brian, because I'm a big guy. I'm basically like an offensive lineman, like 280 now, and probably that's low end. But you know what I mean? Like, not like a big lard ass, but I got some weight on me. But the doctor told me, because I used to smoke.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. You're an incredible lard ass.
No, the doctor told me, he goes, you got to give up something, because I used to smoke too. So, I couldn't give up. The Pepsi, the Coca-Colas, and chicken wings, right? It was like a diet thing, or smoke. Like, that's the thing. I still drink like a fish and whatever, but I quit smoking, which is probably good for me. If I smoked, I'd be in a box right now. But anyway,
by the way, all these angles and all these things we talk about, and you know what? Maybe we're just, because I hate the analytics crowd.
Yes.
They're vomit inducing
nerds.
But
nerds.
Well, but I mean, we're just as guilty that this angle and 3 games in 4 nights and blah, blah. And I'm telling you, the best angle was Bills are getting ready to play the Ravens, and I said to my wife, she said, "What do you want for the game, for dinner?" And I said, "You're doing the exact same thing you did last week against the Colts."
Exactly.
I said, "You're making the same chicken wings." So we had 3 different kinds. I said, "Well, you're getting the 3." She said, "What if the store doesn't have them?" I said, "Then you're going to go call Ed Perdue and go to his house and get them." You're getting the same, right? So anyway, she does the same thing, right? What's the game? 3-3 at the half. She pulls the chicken wings out at halftime. The Bills march down, get a touchdown, and Teron Johnson gets the 101-yard interception. Lesson learned. The wings are coming out at kickoff in the championship game. Now I ain't waiting until halftime.
Excellent.
So the chicken wing angle's in play. If I have the wings at the beginning of the game, the Chiefs don't have a chance.
Yeah, I'm loving it. No, that's true, Brian. When I'm doing my show with Gabe, like, that's the thing, right? It's like most people would be like normal and want to watch their team play. He's done the show both times the Sabres won, so I know I'll be working with him on Sunday night, because you're not doing anything different in the championship game. But tonight,
the Bills. You said
Buffalo,
the Sabres.
Buffalo.
You said the Sabres. The Sabres don't know what a W is.
No. You think the Bills' success would rub off on these guys, but I will tell you this, Brian. I'm in tonight. This is it.
I know. Let's go. All right. Well, let's start with the 7:05 Eastern games, and if you want to start there, so be it. Flyers unbeaten at home, look really good. Higher scoring games, $1.50. These are numbers, by the way, betchris.com, and we'll just tell you.
Actually, Brian, that's the second game in the rotation.
I was just trying to be a broadcaster and segue.
Yeah, well, I'm not a broadcaster. I'm just a moron.
By the way, the way segue is spelled, I mean, if I was I was just doing a sagoo.
Yeah, this guy.
All right, we'll start the 7:05 Eastern games. By the way, betchris.com, deposit $100 and you get a $100 sign-up bonus by just jumping in there from us. So do it. Get yourself an account. thehockeybettingpodcast.ca, betchris.com. Here we go. 7:05 Eastern. Winnipeg at Toronto. Leafs $1.55. The total takebacks plus $1.30. Total is 6.5 to the over. Cam, I watched the Leafs, man. I'm telling you, you got guns a-blazing up front. That defense, your big addition, Bogosian's one of your big additions on the blue line. It remains a thing.
Oh, it's a problem. It's a thing. Yeah. Also now there's a goaltending controversy because Campbell's got a better attitude, and Anderson is a guy that is so streaky. Usually, and you know what I mean. And it's funny.
Why is there an attitude thing? Because Anderson's name was out there all summer that they were going to move him.
Anderson is a problem because he's not that good, and people talk about it. And Jack Campbell's they're almost the same guy to me. And people like Campbell because he seems to be like a jovial type of guy. You know what? I'm not going to take everything away from Freddie Anderson, but he doesn't make crucial saves. When he's bad, he's awful. And the defense doesn't give him any help, but he's also the problem. He's not an elite goaltender. I can tell you that. And the Leafs need one because their defense is deplorable. 6.5 is the total in this game. Do you want to go over? We hit it with the Panther game, Brian, but yeah, with Winnipeg there, they score goals too. I would assume we can get to 7 goals in this game. I have no opinion on the side of this game, but I would lean over. It's not my favorite game of the week. That's for sure.
And, the ironic nature of this is Winnipeg only has a game
correct
under their belt. They beat Calgary 4-3 in overtime. So clearly you're going to be getting Hellebuck here. And they're fresh as a daisy. And you know what? I do like Winnipeg, and I'll tell you why. I believe this is going to be the case. Again, early learning curve in the season. You got Winnipeg at Toronto, and then they get a couple at Ottawa. So in the North, we're getting these odd little things, right, Cam? Because some teams are playing each other 10 times. Some teams are playing each other 9 times. So much more so in the West, on occasion, you're going to get a one-off, and that's what this is. It's not a rematch coming up later in the week. But I think when teams go on these shortened road trips, I think in the first game, all their eggs are in a basket to get the trip off to a good start, because I do think if a team has a longish road trip, these guys are going to be checking out mentally when they're stuck in a hotel, the rink. But getting a trip started, I think there's a bounce and a step for the visitor. So I'll say Winnipeg in this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, here's the problem. The Leafs could win this game. Are you laying $1.55 with Toronto the way they played? They lose to Ottawa, and they barely beat them the other time. They're not a good hockey team right now. I think eventually they'll get it together. The chemistry, they will figure it out. Actually, Joe Thornton, old man Thornton, scored a goal the last game, and he actually looked good. Maybe he'll inspire these other wingnuts, these other guys who don't play two-way hockey to do something. It really pisses me off watching these guys. They should be one of the better teams in the league, but their numbers are always inflated. The population base thinks they're better than they are. And, Winnipeg would probably be the play to the over. I don't love the game, Brian, but I got no problem. You're getting 35 cents with a team that can go in there and get a victory. I think it's a good price.
All right. Buffalo's at Philly.
I'm already in.
The Flyers minus $1.50.
I'm in.
Total on the game is 6. Now, I'll just throw this. The first 2 games, Sabres were down. They were horrible in their own end. To their credit, they fought back, pulled within 1, and then the empty netter. They lose to Washington. The second game, Buffalo was much better, carried play for large stretches of the game. As you said, the young goalie had a good night. I still think the quality chances Buffalo had were too few and far between for my liking. But the thing is now, they started Hutton in the first game, and you're like, what the hell are they doing? And here was the deal. Omar came in. He had immigration papers. How can you have a problem with this?
No, Brian, remember when I went to Vegas and saw you and we a trip that popped up? I was there the same day. You pay a little bit extra money, and I'm an idiot, and I figured it out. You go down to the passport office, you get it done, you wait. Passport issues. What are you this guy sleeping?
What is this?
I know that's no. Sorry, I could be. You know me. I'm sleeping half the time. I have no idea what's going on, and I figured it out when I needed to get to Vegas in under 48 hours. This guy had the whole damn time off season to do it, and you got passport issues. I don't know what your problem is, bud, but obviously he didn't think about it. But who cares? That's over and done with.
But
now.
Olmark's playing. He played well. They didn't win, but he played better. I think they're going to ride Olmark here. I don't think this is this 1-1A thing. I think that clearly for a number of reasons, hey, they got to win. But they're going to ride Olmark and see, what are we dealing with this kid? Is he indeed a guy that can lug the mail for us, a youngish guy who had long stretches with great save percentage last year? Hutton is not the long-term answer here. So you got to start playing Olmark, and you got to start riding him. So it's Olmark versus Hart.
Yeah, I'm in Buffalo. This team's let me down early in the season. If they can't get it done and go 0-3, I'm going to have a real problem. But we're getting plus 131. I think we see a desperate team. Philadelphia's been good. They've also been very, very hot. I think Pittsburgh took the plate of them in stretches of that game. And, they had breakaways and defensive breakdowns, but Hart stood on his head, and the Flyers ride him. I'm surprised Philly wouldn't play they're off to a great start. I thought maybe the backup could come in tonight, and I'd really like Buffalo more. But give me the plus 131 with their Sabres. I think they get it done, Brian.
Buddy, I got the pom-poms out. It's 0-2. I say their season's on the line. Hey, you are literally, you're not playing on the train tracks. You're playing jacks on the train track. You got Monopoly, jacks, a game of check. You got all the board games are out, and you're playing on the tracks, because the Sabres, their last 8 visits to Philly, they're 0-6-2.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe it changes. I don't know.
Cam going with the "they're due" theory tonight.
I am. Well, I don't know. Do you think Philly just runs these guys out of the building? It's been a great start.
No.
It feels like a letdown game for Philadelphia after they beat down Pittsburgh. That's all I'm saying.
It's only 2 games. I'm not. Believe me. I'm not riding this out here. Eichel's all in. I don't care about that. He's sick of losing. Okay, he loves Buffalo. He wants to win in Buffalo. I will say this. He has not looked good as strong, but this guy's dominant. He has not been dominant. If Taylor Hall's flying around, he looks really good. I don't know what Eichel's doing. It's like he's deferring more, but there's just something. It's only a couple of games. But, when he gets the puck and he goes through 3 guys and passes or creates a shot through 2 games, it's only 2 games, but it's not been there. It's weird. He doesn't look like him.
I agree. Usually he takes over games and dominates. It's been all right. But, yeah, it's noticeable, Brian. But you know what? Eventually this guy's going to have to take the team on his back. I love Hall the way he's been playing. The rest of the team, too. They need some guys to finish. But tonight's the night because Philadelphia feels good about themselves. I think they take the Sabres a little bit light tonight, and Buffalo gets it done. Even the price is kind of telling you something. The way Buffalo is, you would have made the Flyers about $1.65, $1.70. It's $1.51. That's telling me I think the books understand the Sabres could be a live pooch.
All right, let's go to the Sharks and the Blues. And you're looking at $1.80 on St. Louis. Total on the game is 6. San Jose wins the first, loses the second at Arizona. They're a team to watch. I think they can vie for the 4th spot in the Pacific. The Blues, the one thing I would say, I wouldn't go near this game if you wanted to fire on the puck line, because the Blues looked great in the first game. The Avs looked horrible, but then the Avs, it was a gift from the gods to play them on the puck line after looking terrible. They win 8-0, but the Blues walked out of there saying, we embarrassed ourselves. This is not who we are. So the Blues are coming off a beatdown. You got to believe you're getting their best effort tonight.
That's one of my angles, and it doesn't take a sabermetrics, analytics nerd to figure it out. The Blues walked away with the tail between their legs. They got absolutely pumped by the Avalanche. 182. It's parlay, or puck line. They get it done. The Sharks, watch this team play a couple times. They still got a lot of issues. St. Louis is a much better team. They're at home. I don't care about fans. They'll get it done. $1.82. You got to put it in a parlay to plus money. Blues beat the Sharks. We're done. SJ Sharkey is going to lose tonight.
The Canes at the Preds. Carolina minus $1.20.
Got to tell you something, Brian. Sorry to interrupt here. I got a lot of issues with Carolina right now. These guys are playing like junk. You barely beat Detroit the first game. Don't let the box score fool you. It was 1-0, and they scored 2 late goals with empty netters, and then you lose the second game. Like, what are you doing, Carolina, out of the gate? Like, this is one of our hot teams. I know it's a long season, but you wake up tonight. Nashville, you're lucky you played Columbus, and Columbus has major issues with guys on their team right now with Tortorella. We're 2 games in the season. They're already bitching. Carolina, I'll lay 20 cents with Carolina. They got to beat Nashville tonight. They're a better team. Not impressed with their start, and if they lose again, I think we have reason to be concerned. I think it's almost a pick 'em, Brian. Give me the Hurricanes.
Well, they are, and here's the thing, though, and we like this team big picture. They're favored at Nashville.
Yeah, because Nashville's not that good. Nashville beat Columbus. Who cares? Columbus has looked awful at the start of the year. Nashville, I get it. They've had some late goals to win. I'm still not sold on the Predators. I lean Canes. It's not, it's 20 cents, Brian. I got no problem with that. Sure, I'd like to be getting 5 cents or 10 cents, but that's not going to happen. I think the books understand that Carolina's better. Nashville beat Columbus 2 games. Big deal. I still think Nashville stinks, and I think Carolina needs to wake up. I lean Carolina in this spot.
All right, here's the rub, right? Here's what we're looking at. Montreal at Edmonton, and I played Montreal in the first game, and I believe were they plus a quarter?
Nah, they were about plus $1.10, I think it was the line went. But anyway, they were plus one.
Going in to that, I said from what I've seen and what I think about I think Montreal's the better team.
I agree.
So I played Montreal in game 1. That being said, Cameron, here you go with the rematch angle. And now they see, here's what goes on. Now they flip it around, and Montreal's minus 3 nickels, and the total is 6.5. Well, Vancouver made Edmonton look stupid in game 1, and then Edmonton turned the tables on them in game 2. Is this the game that sticks out as the in-series rematch revenge game?
It does, but I don't love it as much as I should love it. I think Montreal's a good team. They pumped it. What did they win, 5-0? They play a great game. They get great goaltending. They're underrated. Their players work hard. It's tough. I'll go to Edmonton because Connor McDavid could take the game on his back, which he did in the second game against the Canucks when they bounced back after the loss, minus $1.05. Yeah, I'll give Edmonton a shot, but there's no guarantees there, Bri. Montreal's damn good.
Well, time will be the ultimate judge of this thing. But Vegas is always all in on the big fish. They're always swinging for the fences, and they were in on Erik Karlsson at the end of year 1. And what's his name? What's our boy Dorian, the GM in Ottawa?
Yeah, you guys doing a great job.
Doing a great job. Well, he was like, okay, I want Cody Glass. And McPhee at the time said, no, he's in love with Cody Glass, who was the 6th pick of the draft. Well, the other first round, there were 3 of them in that first draft. Brandstrom still hasn't made Ottawa. He's gonna be good, but the guy that when you're looking at it back now, going, well, it may, and we'll see what Glass becomes. They're kids, they're still young, but Suzuki is a stud. Yep. And you sit there, and now Pacioretty's off to a good start, but all the assets they used to get Pacioretty adds up. This is what this added up to get Max Pacioretty. They traded for Thomas Tatar at the trade deadline in the first year. This is all the assets that added up, and the end result was Max Pacioretty. Thomas Tatar, a first, 2 seconds, a third, and Nick Suzuki adds up to Max Pacioretty. I'm like, hello?
Yeah, it's like, how you doing? Exactly. Like, the Canadians are really starting to figure it out. No, that's, that package, you can give me 3 Max Paciorettys, and I'll still take the first package. No, Suzuki's a stud. I agree with you. I think this Montreal team is scary as hell. They could have beat the Flyers last year in the playoffs. They got really snake bitten. They hit a lot of bars. Hart made some big saves. They were actually the better team. So, yeah, Montreal's a team on the rise for sure, buddy.
I got to ask you this. Carey Price is still an elite goalie. Yeah. But the ship has sailed, hasn't it? Came that Carey Price is the best goalie in the NHL.
Yeah, that's. I agree.
Are we riding on?
No, he's still good.
Past success. Yes. He's good, yeah. But it's but I mean, we always you always sit there and go, yeah, the Canadians, Carey Price, Oh, no, it's the Canadians and young guys flying around scoring goals.
That's exactly it, Brian. You said it. Like, I find a lot of these hockey guys just kind of relying on the past. And the thing is, Carey Price he's still an elite goaltender, but not the way he was before. He has bad nights. And they got Jake Allen back there, who actually is coming off his best season in St. Louis. So Montreal's going to be all right. But you said it. It's the young core that they have right now, guys like Gallagher and workhorses. That's why they're good. Okay, let's get to the rest of these games here. Let's rock.
Vancouver, Calgary. Calgary's $1.50. Total on the game is 6. There's a little Western Canada rivalry thing here. I'm not sold on Calgary. We said this all along. You give me the Canucks plus 130?
Yeah, well, they got JT Miller coming back. They lost.
Oh, who I love.
So do I. And they lost to Calgary in the first game. This is it. And Calgary, what happened in that game, Brian, for people who don't know, former Vancouver goalie Markstrom stole the show with a shutout in his Calgary debut, right? Things could be different the second time around. I don't know who's starting. Is it Demko for Vancouver? Is it going to be Holtby? I really don't care who it is because I think Vancouver at plus 130, you're right. This is something I can come back to after getting shut out and getting Miller back. I think Vancouver is a live pooch at plus 130 for sure.
All right. And then the Wild minus $1.40 at Anaheim.
Like I hate them. Like honestly, that Kings parlay that I had paid huge. I could probably after COVID, I could have gone and done a nice trip to see you in Vegas again. Like I'm still pissed off. That was the last game. Minnesota scores with 2 seconds left, and then they win in overtime. Like I don't get mad about losing bets anymore because I do this stuff daily, hourly, every single day of my life. Horses, humans, who cares? But that game really, really pissed me off. Yep. I needed LA.
No, our buddy Dennis Bernstein talked about that. By the way, mark that one down. You know the Kings got work to do, and they're I think McClellan, they're going to be, playing hard, young guys, trying to set a culture. But he said, boy, that one hurt for the Kings. He said that one may take them a while to get over. Same thing can be said to me about the Ducks. They were down 2-0 in the blink of an eye. And here at Vegas in game 1. And this is where the crowd thing is a thing. If Vegas scored, and Marchessault scores like a little over a minute in the game, then they get another quickie. And if the fans were there, they blow the roof off the joint, and I bet you Vegas gets 2 more. Instead, Anaheim comes back and gets 2, settles in, Vegas wins. The second game, Gibson he plays his lungs out. I mean,
he's an elite goaltender, I think.
He's the guy that doesn't get anywhere near the credit, and he's listed as the starter in this game. He faced a lot of rubber, but Anaheim had to be sick to their stomach. They got a point out of it. But, I mean, they had the game won, and Vegas pulled the goalie and tied it. And then Vegas, the opening faceoff was a joke. They scored 7 seconds, Cam. It's like they dropped the puck 2-on-1. Stone goes, yeah, the guy cheated. And they come in 2-on-1, goal, go home. Gibson's got to be going, you guys are kidding me, right? But you're betting Gibson here.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Minnesota's been playing with fire. Sure, they beat the Kings. They were lucky to win both of those games. I don't love Anaheim, but at plus 120, for me, it's Anaheim or nothing in this game. If they show up, Minnesota will lose this game. I just the Wild, I know they have a couple good young players on their team, but they were so damn lucky both games to beat the Kings. And, I can't bet this team in that situation right now. It's Anaheim or nothing, Brian.
All right, my friend. And then tonight, the Golden Knights, they're here. Now, mark this. Oh, hold on, buddy. Okay. Here we go. This is one of these. This is going to be wild. They play now 4 games in a row. Arizona and Vegas are playing 4 consecutive games. 2 here, 2 there. And Arizona loses in a shootout in game 1 to San Jose. They beat San Jose 5-3. So, hey, you're sitting there, you're getting 3 of a possible 4 points in the first 2. Not a bad start for the Coyotes here. But I gotta plead real honest here. I watched a lot of hockey. I didn't see any of the first 2 games, but you're looking 4-3 in a shootout, and then San Jose 5-3. First game of a 4-game set. Vegas again, struggled with Gibson. I think maybe you see a boatload of goals in this game. First of 4, I'm going to lean over the total here.
I lean over the total. Aren't you going to give Arizona a look? Vegas has been playing
Sure.
with fire, right? Like they won that last game against Anaheim, but the thing is, Arizona, they got a heartbreaking loss to the SJ Sharkey, and then they came back and dominated them. Ranta started the second game. I want to take Arizona and the over in this game. Like, I don't know. You got the pulse of Vegas. They just find ways to win all the time, and that was not their best game against Anaheim, and they still found a way to get it done. Tough. I do agree over 6, though, Bri. And we get plus money, too.
I mean, we were saying that with Leonard and Kemper. I mean, you're looking at pretty good goalies here. I just think, again, early on they kind of go for it. Oh, by the way, maybe another reason to like the over is Ekman Larsson's out.
Yeah, that's huge. Man, I really want to take Arizona here, but, got to be selective. I will not be betting every game, but I'll be betting a lot of games, I can tell you that, Bri. But, yeah, over, and I lean Coyotes here, but it's not my favorite game. So the question is, what are our favorite games tonight? Like, what are you swinging with? I'm swinging with the Sabres at plus 130. I'm putting the Blues in a parlay after getting smoked. I got to find a dance partner there. I lean Carolina. It's only 20 cents. You're right, though. They should be plus money against Nashville, but I'm not sold on Nashville. I think we're coming back with the Oilers tonight against the Canadiens. Vancouver's a dog at plus 130. Anaheim.
I'm leery.
Oh,
Nobody. I would just say to you, I'm not arguing with you that they're the better team, but I'd be very leery of Montreal. I think you've got this back-to-back thing, where it's the old zigzag.
That's what I'm saying. We're taking Edmonton, right? Because Montreal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Montreal.
No, I said Edmonton.
Montreal.
I said we're Edmonton.
Yeah. Oh, no. I catch you saying C said we no. Fenêtre. Je m'appelle Wingnut.
Je m'appelle poulet. That means I'm chicken. Wings. I don't know what wings is in French, but I love chicken wings. I should get that saying in French.
Boy. There's a lot of games.
Brian, I got to tell you, our cards going to look pretty big tonight by the sounds of things. So what am I? You like Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg a little bit at the price.
Yeah, I do too. And the Leafs have not been great. Winnipeg look. I'm going to tell you this: if you were to bet every single dog I'm probably going to bet every single dog on the board, but 2. I'm not going to bet against Carolina, and I'm not going to bet against St. Louis. Other than that, I think every dog on this card can win at the 7:00 Easterns and later. What do you think?
Right, and then tomorrow, yeah. No, it's weird. There's a lot of games tonight, and there's a lot of weird ones like that. I don't have a ton of conviction. It's weird. I'm still in this. I'm learning who's shaking off the rust and learning the format. So, I mean, I'm going to be pretty selective here. I kind of like Winnipeg. I kind of like Edmonton in the bounce back spot, even though I think Montreal's the better team. Anaheim, unless they have the punch to the gut and they felt like they let one go. It's Anaheim's home opener, so I mean, they're going to be in front of 39 raucous people.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you for tomorrow, if Winnipeg beats Toronto, I'll be giving Ottawa a long, hard look as a dog. Chicago plays Florida again. That's a tough game.
How about here's the one I would say tomorrow. I mean, you're going to pay for it,
Colorado.
But I think you got to go puck line, right? They're going to be 50 or 60 on the road, but they're coming off a bounce back effort, and I don't think they just get satisfied that they played like crap in the first game. But I also think LA is just so deflated the way they lost that last game. Maybe Colorado really steps on them tomorrow. Yeah,
and another game I'd look at, maybe Washington. Pittsburgh won in a shootout that game. I think the Capitals could come back on the back-to-back. Devils, I watched the Devils game, man. That team's actually got some good – your boy Gusev, and I watched these guys skating around there. Subban's playing better. The Rangers are no lock in that game. That's for sure.
Hey, one other thing. I'm staying away the next game. What's the kid's name in Washington? The goalie?
The rookie. Yeah, it's some weird name.
Here, I'll find it.
Yeah, no, it's like it's very tricky.
Vanacek.
Yeah, Vanacek. Yeah, you got it.
Vitek Vanacek. The one I would say, I'm going to watch another game to see what I'm dealing with this kid. But I've seen him a couple of times now. honestly, God, I'm not going to call Ilya Samsonov. I'm going to call him Michael Phelps because I watched this guy play 2 games and he's swimming in the net all night.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Samsonov, when he's playing, I'm playing Caps games over.
Couldn't agree more. He swims in the net. He gets very lucky. Yeah, Samsonov luggage, he'll be packing his bags pretty soon because I don't think this guy's a good goaltender. This backup's going to be their starter real soon. Washington will figure it out.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, his set of Samsonov luggage, the little spin security thing, his number is 1, 2, 3, 4 to open that suitcase. It's like red light city.
It is, man. Remember red light Rasico, the goalie? Yeah, it's a red light Samsonov. I'm with you. That guy's not very good, but looks like a dog night tonight, Brian. Here we go.
All right. So again, the hockeybettingpodcast.ca. We appreciate the books that are there to help us have the fun for you to go sign up and play. Helps us keep doing this thing. I think it behooves everybody to have multiple accounts because, Cam, that ability to shop for numbers, it makes a difference.
Big time. Like, yeah, if you have one book, like, what are you losing out? Like, the juice can be different in all the games. Think about this one, too. Right, Brian? I use an example. Yeah, it works sometimes, but sometimes you could take the 6 instead of 6.5 and pay a little juice, and if it's a push, it's a push, and you don't get that 7th goal. That happens in hockey a lot, so find books, shop around. You said it. You guys sign up, help me and Brian do this thing. If you guys sign up, we'll be here for a while. We'll have a lot of fun, but I will say this, get multiple books. And hey, think about it, Brian. You're a $100 player, even a $50 player over the season, how much money you could save if you save even like $5 a game. It adds up over time, man. It gets real big.
And oh, by the way, one last thing, no game, no specifics. And again, I know the books love when you play parlays and we sing the song and have fun. The books want you to play parlays. But to me, the way you're playing parlays, Cam, identify just the flow of a game. And yeah, a goalie can clip you, but I'm telling you, it's the betting market that's out there that I pay attention to a lot now, and that's hooking a 3 or 4 team parlay with first period overs. Because even games you think are going to be a dead under, somebody's got to get the lead, right? And they go for it. And I think if you were going to play parlays, hook up some games where you're playing over 1.5. I think you can make some money.
I agree with that, and I think it's a good strategy now. But I remember with the Blackhawks, they did it like 21 games in a row, and the juice gets really high. Do it now, well, it's like acceptable. And you're right, Brian. It's won a hell of a lot more than it's lost. Those over 1.5 first period lines.
All right, there you go. The hockeybettingpodcast.ca. Sign up at the books, and we'll be back with you Thursday, and we'll get you ready for a boatload of weekend matchups and new series that are set to start. All right, buddy. Always a good time. Glad hockey's back. I think we still have to put the either the professor's hat on or the dunce cap or whatever. I think we still got some homework.
Oh, we got lots of homework to do. We're going to figure this thing out, and eventually, Brian, we're going to find like the best angles on these back-to-backs. You're right, though. In a three-game sample size, we're not going to be able to do it. But I'll tell you, at the end of this week and moving into the next week, we're going to start to get some serious vibes, and hopefully we'll make some money.
And honestly, I would the last thing, I would give you a buyer's beware kind of mentality here. That there's some gray areas all over the place. By the end of next week, Cam, we're going to sit here and go, they are who they are. That team's who they are. This is the way they play. Then the trends start kicking in. The one thing I'm convinced will happen, by the end of week 3, I don't know what the actual math will be, but it's starting that way already, that not sight unseen, but in many, many instances, if you believe in a team, you think they're a decent quality team, I think by the end of the 3rd week, teams that lose the first game of a series will end up being 20-10 in the rematch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because they can't afford the losing streak. There's a sense of urgency when teams lose. I mean, this is going to be the coach's mantra. And they're going to take pride in not losing back-to-back games. That's the kind of focus that's going to be out there. So if they're focused on it, we should be too.
No, I'm with you, and we'll see how it plays to the test. But over a while, we're going to start to really figure this things out. And as we say, Brian, hopefully we go on a heater, make a lot of money, and after COVID, I can come down to Vegas and basically drive you nuts again, eat everything that's not nailed down, and basically piss away my paycheck on the blackjack table.
Well, let's find the $1 million idea that we can get rich. Some people are making money with this stupid pandemic. How about wood planks that you're boarding your windows up with team logos on them.
Actually, a great idea.
I'm going back inside and locking the doors.
I'm with you. No, there's a lot of, and that's the thing about COVID, right? Like my neighborhood, I got serial eggers. These kids are coming around. My neighbor got rocked. Like,
really?
Oh yeah, buddy. Like people are breaking.
An egg outbreak?
Yeah, I was doing the show one night. I heard bam, bam, bam. I go, what the? I go in there. I see these kids on a bike, like taken away. My neighbor got rocked too. Their cars are getting broken into. That's the problem with COVID, with all these businesses going. Everybody's a petty thief now.
I know.
Like my neighborhood's being.
People are desperate, man.
Yeah, you got to get that cigarette money. I get it.
I love it. I love you.
Okay.
That was fun.
Love you too, buddy.
All right, please check out the hockeybettingpodcast.ca. We'll be back with you on Thursday. Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing. And if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling, and do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.